Welcome to Impact Makers Radio, featuring industry thought leaders sharing problem-solving insights to help grow your business and live the life you love. And here's your host, Stewart Andrew Alexander.
Hi, and welcome to another Let's Talk Divorce conversation. And on this segment of the show, I have collaborative law attorney Annamaria Walsh. She is the owner of the Walsh Legal LLC law firm, calling in all the way from Baltimore, Maryland. Anyway, Anna, who is considered to be a leader in the area of family law, will be talking to you today about a very interesting topic. You see, Anna's taken the time out of her busy day to come and speak to us about using the collaborative process to keep your divorce and your kids out of court. So, if you are one of the many people in divorce living in the Baltimore, Maryland area, you might just want to down tools, log out of Facebook, give Twitter a break. Maybe you're even on Instagram and you're scrolling around. Put it down, get rid of any kinds of distractions. You might even want to grab yourself a notepad and pen and get ready to take some notes as you listen in to what Anna has to share with us today. So, with that said, let's not keep her waiting any longer. Welcome to the show, Anna.
Hi, Stuart. Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
And we are happy to have you here as well. We know you're really busy, so let's just jump feet first in with our first question. Briefly, in your own words, describe the kinds of people you serve and the various types of situations they find themselves in when they come to you for your help.
Well, Stuart, I'm a family law attorney, so the people that I work with are either going through a divorce or a custody dispute. They have questions about, what's going to happen to their children throughout the divorce. Are they going to be able to maintain their relationship with their kids? They worry about that kind of thing. Parents don't like to not be living with their children, so the thought of not living with my kids every day of the week is often a really frightening thing for parents. And I think when people are frightened, they can strike out and act in ways that they wouldn't normally. So you see a lot of bad behavior when folks are going through a divorce. They also worry about their finances. They have fears surrounding that. They want to know that they're going to be able to support their lifestyle, that, now that this, if the family finances are divided between two households, is there going to be enough to go around? So I help people navigate all of those questions and those issues and those fears throughout the divorce or the custody dispute process.
So keeping in mind that anything you share with us today, Anna, is not legal advice or legal assistance. It's purely for the purpose of sharing information. Now, I am sure there are many. However, what's the most common misconception you come across while you're out there working with those people who find themselves in the unfortunate position of facing divorce?
Since we're talking about collaborative divorce today, I would say that the most common misconception surrounding that is that people have to get along in order to participate in it, and it's not true. Just because it's called collaborative divorce doesn't mean that it's a touchy-feely kumbaya experience for people. Anybody going through the divorce process is struggling with difficult emotions, with real concerns about finances, and with real concerns about their children. So some of those conversations, even in the context of a collaborative divorce, are difficult and challenging. And so that's why in the collaborative process, we put together a team of professionals to support the parties as they go through it. So they have not only attorneys, but also mental health professionals who serve as divorce coaches and financial professionals who come in and serve as financial neutrals for us. We want our clients to be educated about the issues, educated about their options, and how those options will affect their futures. And so we put together a team to help them make informed decisions.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing that, Anna. Now that we know who you work with and based on what you just shared with us, and obviously keeping your client's confidentiality in mind, please share an example of how you've been able to help somebody who came to you with that challenge, that misconception you just spoke about, and what kind of transformational results you were able to gain for them.
Sure. A few years ago, a woman came to me, a new client, and she was in a difficult situation. She was going to be going through a divorce. She and her husband had one child together. It was a little boy, and he was 5 at the time. And her husband had really significant mental health issues. He had a pretty bad depression disorder. He had tried to commit suicide more than once. She knew that her husband loved their son, obviously, but she had very real concerns about the child's safety with Dad if Mom wasn't around to supervise. So when we talked about her options, we discussed litigation as an option, and it wasn't something she was very attracted to. And when we talked about collaborative, she finally agreed to give that a go. And in that process, what we were able to accomplish was really quite amazing, because one of the challenges was that Mom, in that case, really wanted to be able to talk to Dad's therapist and his psychiatrist. She wanted to know that Dad was taking his medications, that he was going to therapy, that he was on track with his treatment so that their child would be safe in Dad's care. And what we were able to do was to work with a child specialist, a coach slash child specialist, who worked with the parents, sat down with them, and came up with a parenting access plan. Dad gave the child specialist permission to communicate with his providers, with his therapist, and with his psychiatrist. And so our child specialist could bring that information back to the negotiation table, reassure Mom that Dad was on track with his treatment plan, and work with them to come up with a realistic parenting plan that took into account the child's safety. And these folks went forward with an uncontested divorce. They had a very solid parenting plan. And so Dad got to spend time with his child, and Mom felt comfortable that that was a safe thing for her child to do. They did develop an issue a year or two later, but they already had their child specialist in place. And so all they had to do was go back and work with their child specialist to resolve the issue that arose post-divorce, because they already had a support plan in place. They knew what they could do to help their child and to maintain the relationship between father and son.
So am I correct in thinking that depending on what your client's needs are, you have the resources in place to provide somewhat of a 360-degree approach to helping that client? Am I on the right lines there, Anna?
Absolutely. The collaborative process, again, is all about putting together a team to help the parties through. It's not just the attorneys sitting at the negotiating table. We have the divorce coaches there, and we have the financial neutral there if there are financial issues. We are all working together to brainstorm options to help these folks make informed decisions and craft an agreement that's actually going to be sustainable and keep them going beyond their date of divorce.
Right. Fantastic. Thank you for clarifying that, Anna. So just as a reminder, we are talking about using the collaborative process to keep your divorce and your kids out of court. Now, with that in mind, Anna, and for those people who are tuning in and listening to us right now, what's the most common but unknown pitfall that you'd like to bring to their attention, no matter what situation they find themselves in, no matter how they feel?
I think, honestly, in my practice, what I have found is that the most common pitfall is that folks really think that they're going to walk into a courtroom and a judge is going to punish the other party for the hurt they've inflicted on the client. They look at that courtroom as a place of justice, and that's not actually the way that it works in the context of family law. Oftentimes, judges hear so many stories about marital dysfunction that I think most of them take the view that that those grievances, those hurtful things that happen, even adultery, those things don't happen in a vacuum. Judges understand that. And so, your story of he done me wrong or she done me wrong isn't really going to get you very far in the courtroom. And if you go into a trial thinking that you're going to tell your story and point your finger, and the judge is going to sit up on the bench and look at your spouse and go, you're going to pay for that. That doesn't happen. And so people who take their divorce through litigation and to trial, I don't know any of them who walk out of the courtroom satisfied, really, truly satisfied with the result. And often that's the case when it happens, when you've got children involved also. I've seen cases where judges will impose a custody schedule that neither parent asked for. And so, what purpose does that serve?
So let me ask you this then, Anna. If you do go into the courtroom, like you said, pointing the finger, accusing your ex or your ex-to-be partner of whatever this, that, and whatever bad things that they have allegedly done, can that actually harm your case?
I think it can. I think that if a witness is on the stand who is so emotionally riled up and caught up in the past and in the hurts of the past, I think that oftentimes that witness loses credibility.
Right.
Because the judge is there to make an equitable decision about the financials. What are the numbers? I understand that this person cheated on you. I understand that, he drained the retirement account, whatever. But what are the numbers now? What's left? What's left of the marital pie? And how can I divide it equitably? That's how most judges will look at the case. And I think that parents really do need to be careful if they haven't managed their own emotions, if they haven't gotten help working through their own emotions, and they're still really subject to being upset and angry or crying on the stand. The judge is kind of going to look at that and say, well, if this parent can't handle their own emotions, are they really equipped to handle the challenges of taking care of the kids right now?
Wow. Yeah.
Again, I think it diminishes your credibility if you walk into a courtroom like that.
So you heard it here, ladies and gentlemen. No matter how you feel, you just may want to check yourself before you go into that courtroom, and as difficult as it is, leave those emotions behind and stick to the facts. That's what the court is looking for, correct?
Right. I think that in most cases that's true. Obviously, in some cases of domestic violence or real abuse or mental cruelty, the emotions are going to come out on the stand. Sure. But if you appear to be, a vengeful or vindictive person on the stand, and your only interest is not what is best for your children, but how can you stick it to your spouse and how bad can you make your spouse look, that's not always the best way to present yourself.
Perfect. Thanks for clarifying that, Anna. So, Anna, let me ask you this. How long have you been practicing family law? How many years?
I was admitted to the Maryland bar back in 1993. And I got my collaborative training about 10 years ago, so I've been doing collaborative since then.
Right, so if I have my numbers right, is that 22 years, 1993? Yes. Okay, so...
We don't really need to count up the years, do we?
I'm a stickler for numbers, right? Because it's a good segue into my next question. So in all of those years that you've been helping people in their divorce cases, would it be safe to say that you've helped hundreds of people?
Probably. I haven't actually added up the numbers.
Mm-hmm. So with that said, then, imagine this. Imagine it's any day of the week, then, Anna, and it's very early in the morning. You're getting up, another day ahead, and you Yeah, you're looking at helping your clients with their cases. So even after 22 years and hundreds of cases, how does Anna Walsh feel on a morning like that?
You know, Stewart, it's really rewarding for me to help people get through a divorce. I went through a divorce. My ex-husband and I have 4 children together, and unfortunately, we didn't do a great job with our divorce. And our kids knew, even though we tried to hide it, my kids knew that their dad and I didn't really like each other.
Right.
And that's a horrible thing. The greatest gift that parents can give their children is the permission to love the other parent without reserve. And going through my own divorce and not doing a very good job of it, I really, really came to collaborative with the desire to help people do a better job than I had done. And it's possible. It is really, truly possible.
While we're still talking about yourself, if you could just expand a little bit and just share some information about your background, and especially in terms of your formal education and your experience as it relates to the topic of family law and, collaborative divorce.
Okay. Well, I went to school here in Maryland at the University of Baltimore. I had my first son in college, my daughter in law school, and I was pregnant with our 3rd child when I sat for the bar exam.
Wow. Awesome.
But in terms of collaborative, I have served on the board of the Collaborative Project of Maryland, which is the pro bono arm of Collaborative in Maryland. I currently serve on the board of the Maryland Collaborative Practice Council, which is the umbrella organization that oversees all of the collaborative practice groups in Maryland. I'm the president of my local collaborative practice group, and that's the Collaborative Professionals of Baltimore. So I spend a fair amount of my time promoting collaborative in Maryland. That's how much I believe in it.
So, Anna, I'd like you just to literally just close your eyes for a few seconds and picture the kinds of people who come to you for your help, and they are wanting to know more about using the collaborative process to keep their divorce and, more importantly, their children out of court. Now, with that picture in mind, Anna, what final thoughts would you like to leave them with before we close out with our last question for today?
I want them to know that they have options, that litigation is not the only way to resolve family law disputes, that conflict does not necessarily have to lead to the destruction of the family. Conflict can be a transformative experience. But they have to know their options, they have to do their research, they have to choose the right professionals to work with.
Thank you so much for that, Anna. So if there is somebody who's tuning in right now and they feel that they need to know more about using the collaborative process to keep their divorce and their children out of court, how can they reach you? What's the easiest way?
They can pick up the phone and call me. My number is 410-494-4921. They can email me through my website, which is www.awalshlegal.com.
Fantastic. You know something, Anna, I know that we have only begun to scratch the surface today of the amount of information, the great insights that you could share. However, we are limited by time. So yeah, we do have to go. So ladies and gentlemen, let me just remind you who we have been speaking with. We have been speaking with Annamaria M. Walsh. That's her full name, Annamaria M. Walsh. What a beautiful name. And she is a collaborative law attorney. Anna, thank you so much for sharing so generously with us today. You have certainly, without a doubt, demonstrated that you are a true educator advocate and trustworthy advisor for your client's success. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Stewart.
You are so welcome, Anna. And I'd also like to say a big thank you to you. Yes, you, the listener. Thank you for joining us on this very insightful and informative discussion with one of the leading collaborative law attorneys in the Baltimore, Maryland area today. Again, her name is Anna Walsh. Do remember her. Make sure you do check her out. Give her a call. She shared her a phone number, or even drop her an email address. Whatever you decide to do, I am convinced after today's show that you're going to be in a great place to get started. So that's it, folks. Once again, my name is Stewart Andrew Alexander, and we'll be back shortly with some more leading family law professionals in this, our series of Let's Talk Divorce Conversations. So, until then, take care, have a great day, and we'll talk real soon.
Thank you for tuning in to Impact Makers Radio. To listen to all past, present, and future industry thought leaders and trendsetters, visit us at impactmakersradio.com.